What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Today on the table in front of us is something I'm very happy to have added to the collection. This is the Apurvis Blades Xerx. This is a very, very nice pocket knife. Now I have now 3 of his 4 knives that he has designed. He had the original Primordial, which was a smaller knife with no flipper. He had the Progeny, of which there are now alternate versions of that. And then he had the Primordial Mark II. Couldn't remember the name for a second. These are 2 of my all-time favorite knives. Now, this one I love because of the blade shape and how thin it is behind the edge, and the blade-to-handle ratio on this thing is amazing. This is M390. I love this one because there's just a little bit of Elijah Isham DNA in this, and it is just a really nice, thin, easy-to-carry knife with a great working blade on it. Bestech now, which, by the way, Bestech made all of these. Bestech now has released a version of this called the Texel, basically, which is G10 and D2. So you can get this knife in a budget version now if you're not interested in chasing down one of his. The Xerx is in CPM 20 CV. It is all titanium. It is running on ceramic bearings. It's just a really interesting evolution in his knife design. One of the things I love most about it is that it has a compound grind. So here, along this flat, and just at the top of the beginning of the belly, it is very, very slicey. And then up here at the tip, while not dull by any stretch of the imagination, it's a little more robust, which makes for a very, very nice. You can thrust with this and then do draw cuts with it very, very easily. It's just a little more robust up here, and that's really cool. There is nothing that interferes with the cutting path at all. This thing is really a worker, and it is really good at what it does. On the titanium scales, yeah, that shows a little bit. There is micro milling, which means it's got texture, so it doesn't want to slip around in your hand. This is a well-sorted and well-thought-out knife, and I really, really like it. But then I collect Adam Purvis's work. Clearly. He has yet to make a knife that I don't really, really enjoy. Now, I do want to say something about that. These 2 are really interesting in a number of ways. The Xerx is a little more straightforward. There's no carbon fiber. There's no, sort of odd design aesthetic. It is more a straightforward working knife. And when I first got it, I was a little disappointed in that. I had come to really enjoy his sort of funky aesthetic that also worked very well. But after having had this for a while, it is exactly as it should be. It is a regular, everyday carry, comfortable in hand, very, very useful and functional pocket knife that also happens to be, at least to me, very, very lovely. Now, these are sold out. He does only make limited numbers, and that does bug me a little bit because his design is good enough that I think a lot of people would like to have them, and I wish he made more. But they are available on the secondary market. There's not a big markup. You can still get one. Prices range from $250 upwards of about $300, which is not inexpensive, but considering that these are small batch, small designer knives, that's really not that outlandish. Yeah, it's expensive. But you get a lot of really interesting knife for your money. Let's do some basic metrics so we know what we're looking at here dimensionally. You get 1, 2, 3 1/4 inches of cutting on 1, 2, 3.5 inches of CPM 20 CV. The overall knife is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just dead on 8 inches long, which is very nice. If we move that up a little bit, the grip area from just inside the flipper tab is 1, 2, 3 3/4 inches long. Just a little under 4 inches, which means on my hand, right, it comes right just sort of the end, but on most people, you're going to end up with a little knife sticking out. Let's take a look at the blade stock. Now, this is one thing that is interesting. It is a thick piece of CPM 20 CV that has been ground down to a very, very thin edge. And boy, did they do a good job of that. Now, how thick? Let's go ahead and bring that up and zero it out. We are looking at over 4 millimeters of CPM 20 CV. That is thick blade stock. It is not thick where it counts. So you get a very robust blade that comes to an incredibly slicey edge. The handle itself, we're talking about sizes. Let's zero that out. There we go. The handle itself at its thickest point is just over a 1/2 inch. It is just over 1 inch at its thickest part here in the grip area. So it is a nice, wonderfully shaped handle for grip. The pocket clip is very well done on this. Now, it's not exceptionally deep carry. As you can see, you get about that much knife sticking out, which, you know, I would have been happier if they'd moved the clip up a little bit, but I think then it would have interfered with this back screw. Still, a little deeper carry would have been okay with me, but you get really nice ramp, lots of space in here to fit into even the thickest of jeans. And that, I think, is really something that speaks to his working fireman's mentality. If you can't get the knife in your pocket, you're not going to be able to carry it. If you can't carry it, it's no good. This is a really excellently designed working knife in really nice materials. Let's throw a size comparison up here, even though we've already done it against his other knives. We'll do it against some stuff that you may be familiar with. This is the Benchmade Bug Out, as I have said many times. And as you can see, the Xerx is not tremendously larger than the Bug Out, but it is bigger. And it's bigger in a way that means that it's much more comfortable for somebody with large hands like I have. This is the Spyderco, the PM3, which is not a big knife by any stretch of the imagination. And as you can see, the Xerx is bigger than that, but one of the things the Xerx is much better at is how it takes up space in the pocket. The Spyderco is very, very thick this way. It eats up a lot of real estate, whereas the Xerx is a nice, lean, and narrow design, which is very, very nice. Can I say nice one more time? Here it is up against our larger knife comparison. This, of course, is the Ritter Hogue, which is also the full-size Griptilian. And as you can see, if we line up the blades, they are very, very close to the same length. You get almost the same cutting surface. This is M390. This is CPM 20 CV. But you get more blade, thicker blade stock, more robust blade here. And the handle, well, these are both very, very comfortable working knives. But this one gets to be just a little fancier, and I like that. Can you get a Xerx? Well, maybe. They are for sale on the secondary market, as I said. My hope is that Bestech will pick up this design or something very similar to it and make a budget version, perhaps, or he will make more of these down the road, which would be really nice because I think he has a full-on winner here with this. I've added it to the collection because I collect his knives. It's just that simple. If you're interested in one, don't be afraid to poke around on the used and secondary market. You will. They do come up. You will find one. And I hope you do find one if you want one. And I hope he, again, makes more. I think that it is kind of ridiculous that his knives are numbered to such, usually about 250. That's not enough of them. Nick Shabazz recently did a really, really good video on FOMO marketing, which is fear of missing out. If you can make 250, you can make 450. Now, I know that's expensive for him, but at the rate his knives sell, I feel like he could probably make more of them, and they wouldn't be any less special for it, and more of us would be able to get them on the initial drop. And I think that would matter, because so far, every knife that he has designed and then seen through to production has just been a complete success. Excellent in hand, great users, beautiful to look at, well made. I feel like he has proven his proof of concept. At this point, he could if not mass produce, then at least more mass produce his knives. And clearly he would sell them left, right, and hand over fist. So I hope that's what happens, because his stuff is worth owning. It's really, really very good. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, you know what? Before we go, let's do a weight on this thing, just because I'm curious. Because it's a little hefty in the hand. There's a little milling in there, but it's not particularly deep. So let's take a look. It is 4.2 ounces for a 3.5 or 3.25 inch blade. It is a little chunky, I guess, but I like that because it feels stable in hand and gives it a more substantial feeling, I think, is the reason I enjoy it so much. Okay, now we've done it all. This is the Apurvis Blades Xerx. I am an Apurvis Blades collector. I really enjoy this knife. If you want one, I hope you find one. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video on the way out. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. We'll see you next time.